Respected invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, with heartfelt of gratitude this morning, I welcome you all to the headquarters of the National Open University of Nigeria, the home of the biggest open and distance learning institution across the West African sub-region. Welcome to this all-important event, which the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 readily captured and described as there is a time and season for everything under the heavens. Today, we gather this morning to celebrate an illustrious career of a professional in pharmacology and, of course, guidance and counseling. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today is the Exaugural lecture of Professor Helen Kwanashie, a professor of pharmacology and guidance and counseling. Without any further ado, as we get in set for this all-important business, it is with pleasure that I recognize members seated on the high table. Of course, the National Open University of Nigeria is ably led by no other than the Vice Chancellor, Professor Olufemi Peters, who is seated with us here as the chairman of this occasion. Good morning, sir. You're welcome. I'd like to also recognize the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of academics, Professor Chedu Mafiana, the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of administration, Professor Isaac Bosworth, the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of technology, innovation, and research, Professor Godwin Akpe, the Registrar of the University, Mr. Oladipo Ajayi, the Basa Malam Nasiru Marafa, and of course, the Liberian Dr. Angela Okpala. It is with pleasure also that I recognize the reason we are gathered this moment, Professor Mrs. Helen Kwanashie, of course, a person who we are gathered here for what the military will describe as her pulling out parade. I'd like to also recognize the Dean Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Ndi, who is here with us. I'd like to also recognize the University Orator, Dr. Matthew Oguche, other members of the Senate who are seated here, respected members of the university community, Association of Guidance and Counseling who are here to give a covering fire to one of their own, friends and family members of the valedictory lecturer, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, you are most welcome. At this moment, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome the Mr. Chairman of this occasion, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Olufemi Peters, for his welcome remark. Sir.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the principal officers of the university, present, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, the Acting Registrar, the University Librarian, the Dean of the Faculty of Health Science, who has brought us here through one of their illustrious daughter, Professor Helen Kwanashie, the distinguished members of Senate here present, heads of departments here present, family of Professor Helen, and I can recognize, he won't know me, I can recognize the husband, Professor Mike Kwanashie. Friends, this it's a little bit unique for us in the university, if you know what I meant. Our university is relatively young, and some of these customs and traditions are something that we are also getting used to. I think this is about the second or the third valedictory lecture we'll give in our university. And under my tenure, this is, I think, the second one. But I'm going to take a few minutes because the person that is going to give the lecture, as many in the university know, is a little bit different in relationship to me, to the others. So in my opening remarks, if you permit me, DVC academic, to do some storytelling before I give my remark. Helen, for many of you who may not know, was my classmate at the University of Ibadan. I met her in the Faculty of Science when we registered at the 100 level. She was admitted to read biochemistry, and I was admitted to read chemistry. And there are lectures at that level that used to join the two of us together. And the second year, they will go to a side of the university that many of us in Faculty of Science and Medicine don't like to go because of one professor, Odumbe Basia. But that is how I met her. And I met her, and I was going to ask the husband today, the Helen I met in 1976 is still the Helen I am seeing now. The same mannerism, the same way of carrying her books at that time is the same way she carries it till today. So, but one thing that struck you as a classmate was that Helen was really a bookworm. You could, once she was entering the big lecture theater, then for chemistry and those chemistry courses, she was a very studious person. And so we never liked her. For obvious reasons. She will make sure she sits in front of the lecture theater, and whereas we will be making noise at the back, Helen was forever listening. So we were very happy when she left our department and left. And I thought I had seen her for good. Until 1988, when I came back from England, and I had joined the services of ABU in 1982. And then somehow, you know, when you first join, you are really unknown. So I was really just minding my business until I went to England in 84 and came back in 88 with a PhD. And then I saw the person again doing like this. I said, is this not this woman? Is she here? I hope she's not in my faculty. And then, of course, my career also, her career, we also drifted apart. Except when I moved to Area A, and I discovered that this woman again is in Area A. And then the husband left us for Abuja. And then I saw less of her, except occasionally. And then I left ABU as well. So I thought I wasn't going to see her again. Until 2020, is it 1 or 22? 2021, I just saw a note on my table saying that one Professor Helen Kwanashie wants to see me. I said, is this same woman? Let her in. And she came. And then I said, Helen, how are you? And introduced myself again to her. We registered. I said, you remember Kaza, we went. And then she brought me a request. She wants to transfer her service. For somebody who has done so well in academics, who I could vouch for her resilience, for her intellectual capacity, for her counseling. I just asked her, when are you resuming? Because I knew she was going to bring credibility to my university. And at that time, I was struggling to get people of substance to the university. And she was my first main academic substance that I got into the. And I want to thank her. But I had a reservation. The reservation I had was that I am aware that many people outside Open University don't know the kind of work that we do here compared to where she was coming from. So my little bit anxiety bothered on how she could be disappointed in what she was going to meet, because I didn't want her to be disappointed. For somebody who I had such respect for, to come and say, there's really nothing here. So I had that promotion that I hope she wasn't going to come to disappoint. But no sooner had she reported that I realized that she was going to enjoy her stay in the National Open University of Nigeria. And I must say, she must have enjoyed herself, because the amount of requests I received for conferences attendance, conferences presentations, research proposals between 2022 and 2023 was unparalleled by my staff. So for me, I knew I had just chosen the right person, and I promised her then that anything she wanted, I was going to give to her to make her have a successful career at the National Open University of Nigeria. I am going to ask you to ask her whether I have fulfilled that pledge. And that is the reason why she's here. She wants to come and give a valedictory speech at the end of her career, as she's seeing retirement. So our presence here is we are going to listen to Helen, that the lecture she's going to be giving, we should take it as both a farewell to us and also a reflection of her careers, achievements and contributions since she started academic life at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. And I think what she's doing is the right thing to do for anyone who has had a very successful career. And I'm challenging my colleagues here. Who can boast and beat his or her chest that the university, National Open University of Nigeria, will always support an event like this? So first, I want to congratulate Professor Helen Kwanashie for having been blessed by God to see today and to want to tell us what she has been doing for the past 40 years. I'm sure in her lecture, she will tell us the sweet moments of her career. I'm sure during her lecture, she will tell us the challenges that she faced in her career. And I'm sure within those moments, she will tell us some fundamental events that must have happened to her during her career. One of which I think is her coming to the National Open University of Nigeria to become a distance lecturer. And of course, she's going to tell us the people who accompanied her, like Mike, like the children, like the students, like our colleagues, ABU, and here, family and friends. It's my pleasure, therefore, to to welcome the woman of the day, Professor Mrs. Helen Kwanashie, to deliver Exaugural lecture. Thank you very much.
Citation for Professor Helen Kwanashie, the Exaugural lecturer. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and pride that I present the citation of our Exaugural lecturer, Professor Helen Kwanashie, a professor of pharmacology and guidance counselor in the Department of Nursing Science, Faculty of Health Sciences, National Open University of Nigeria. Professor Kwanashie, an eminent professor and proven expert in perinatal biochemical pharmacology, toxicology, and pharmacology education, in an academic sojourn spanning over 4 decades within the university system, is today being honored with this valedictory lecture as she signs off after a fulfilling career. She was born on 25th May 1955 at Ekpan, Uvie local government area, Delta State. She began her early education at Roman Catholic Mission Primary School, Abraka, in 1963, transferred to St. Bridget's Catholic Primary School, Saple, where she finished in 1965. Thereafter, she proceeded to St. Ita Girls Secondary School, Saple, in 1966, and completed senior secondary school at St. Maria Goretti Girls Secondary School, Benin City, Edo State, in 1970, with an outstanding result in the West African School Certificate Examination, Division 1 distinction with aggregate 11. Her higher education journey began when she was admitted into the University of Ibadan in 1976 to study BSc Biochemistry, where she graduated in 1979 with an upper second degree. Still at the University of Ibadan, she pursued graduate studies, earning an MSc in biochemistry, specializing in xenobiochemistry and toxicology in 1981, and capped it with a doctorate degree in pharmacology with a bias in biochemical and perinatal pharmacology in 1991. Professor Kwanashie further enriched her academic experience with a postdoctoral fellowship at the Department of Biochemical Medicine, Nine Wells Hospital and Medical School, University of Dundee, Scotland, United Kingdom, from 1st October 1993 to 30th September 1994. She also earned 2 education qualifications from ABU, namely Postgraduate Diploma in Education, PGDE, and Higher Diploma in Guidance and Counseling Education. Her over 4 decades sojourn in the university system as an academic unfolded with her employment as an assistant lecturer in 1982 at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and climaxed with her promotion to professor in 2004. She transitioned to the National Open University of Nigeria in 2021 as a professor, from where she's exiting today. In this more than 4 decades academic trajectory, Professor Kwanashie had spent about 30 focusing on open and distance learning and e-learning. A consummate academic with an undeniable passion for research and academic mentoring, Professor Kwanashie has supervised to completion at ABU 94 Bachelor in Nursing Science projects, 52 MSc dissertations, and 19 PhD theses. And at now, she has supervised 64 Bachelor of Nursing Science and registered nurse research projects at undergraduate level in the Department of Nursing Science, and 14 MSc Public Health dissertations, 4 PhD theses, 9 MSc theses, 5 PhD dissertations, and numerous undergraduate projects. She has served as external examiner at PhD Viva and as an assessor of candidates for the rank of associate professor/reader and professor in several universities, including the University of Sierra Leone. She has attended and presented papers at over 50 international conferences and workshops. Her expertise had been drawn upon by the National Universities Commission, NUC, in several accreditation panels for the pharmacy and nursing science programs in Nigerian universities. Professor Kwanashie's commitment to community service is evident by her membership of several professional bodies. The high point was when she served as the president West African Society for Pharmacology, Société Africaine de Pharmacologie. She is a member of many learned bodies, including the West African Society for Pharmacology, South African Society of Basic and Clinical Pharmacology, British Pharmacological Society, American Society for Microbiology, American Counseling Association, Counseling Association of Nigeria, CASN, and the African Society for Drosophila. She is happily married to Professor Mike Kwanashie, a professor of economics at Veritas University, Abuja, and they are blessed with children and grandchildren. Vice Chancellor Sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pleasure that I now follow up on your earlier invitation to warmly welcome our Exaugural lecturer, Professor Helen Kwanashie, as she delivers her valedictory lecture titled From Chalkboards to Digital Networks. The Exaugural lecturer, please.
So I'm going to talk with you today about chalkboards and digital networks. From chalkboards to digital networks. That's what I'm going to talk about. And it's a career academics, my career academics 44-year journey from face-to-face teaching through open and distance learning to social learning. This slide is a slide I like to show everywhere since I joined this university. And may the ICT people press the forward button. It's an aerial view of this university. And I can tell you it is like none other. There is a button there. I don't know how to do it with this stuff. You will see the university going round, and I can tell you that there is nowhere in the world you will go to. You see something as fantastic as this. Okay, you can meet me later and I will play it for you. I didn't do it by myself. I went to the website of the university. You know that movement. I got some ICT person to fix it for me and make it into a video. And usually if I'm not standing here, if I'm standing near them, they do play it. And it is, when you see it, you want to be in this place. So I bring you warm greetings. Both those who are Nanites and those who are coming from outside this place, from the headquarters of the National Open University of Nigeria, the foremost and best university out of the 274 universities in this country. I will do a welcome and protocol. And after this, the Vice Chancellor's name will be all of you. So whenever I say, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, then I'm talking to everybody that is here. But for now, I want to greet people properly according to what they deserve. Members of the Governing Council, NOUN, the former Vice Chancellors here present, the Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Architect Olufemi Peters. You can meet me later why I think you should have the title Architect as well. The DVC academic, Professor Chiedu Mafiana, who has been so kind to me through this process of the inaugural lecture preparation, Exaugural lecture preparation, please. The DVC admin, Professor Isaac Buswat, thanks for your prayers, even this morning. The DVC Technology, Innovation and Research, Professor Godwin Appa. The registrar, Mr. Oladipo Ajayi. The bursar, Mr. Nasir Marafa. The university librarian, Dr. Angela Okpala. The vice chancellors of other universities here present. Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Sonny Oniye, also from ABU. Dean, Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Elkana Indie, and other deans. Directors and directorates and study centers. Head Department of Nursing Science, Dr. Shegun Ibilade, and other heads of departments. emeritus professors and professors of NOUN, members of the University Senate, distinguished colleagues, staff and students of the university, friends of the university, Professor Mike Kwanashie, renowned professor of economics and former vice chancellor, Veritas University, Abuja, my highly esteemed family and friends, former students and other invited guests, professors from outside NOUN, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I think the clock can now begin. Okay. I want to start with some important notices, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, about who I am and what I'm not. Because even this morning, I've had a number of accolades ascribed to me, which are not perfectly correct. So I am a professor of pharmacology by the grace of God, a pharmacologist and even a Drosophilist. I'm a member of the West African Society, VPS, blah, 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 blah. I'm a guidance counselor, a member of the Counseling Association of Nigeria, American Counseling Association, several others, including the International Association of Psychology and Counseling, of which I'm the country chair for Nigeria. What I'm not, I'm not a professor of guidance and counseling. In fact, I'm trying to round up my MA in guidance and counseling, and I'm not a professor of guidance counselor. So it ought to have been read as either a professor of pharmacology and a guidance counselor, or a pharmacologist and a guidance counselor. I need to make that distinction so that people don't think that I'm ascribing to myself what I'm not. Okay. Another important notice. Even my VC says this is a validatory speech. It is not. This is not an autobiography. It is not a biography, obviously. It is not a validatory speech. And I will tell you why. And it is not an inaugural lecture. A validatory speech is a pleasant something you come and say here. Hi, I was happy to be here. It's nice meeting you. I hope our paths will cross again. Goodbye. I'm here to deliver an exaugural lecture from my career memoir. It is serious business like inaugural lecture. It's just that it is delivered at the end, either at the end of a professor's tenure or when the professor has spent several years as a professor. Incidentally, this is my 21st year as a professor of pharmacology. So that's my Now, the DVC ACAD, who is in charge of inaugural lectures and stuff like this, has warned me that I have only 50 minutes. So if you see this slide and you understand this slide very well, anytime he stops me, I will stop. You would have gotten everything. And let me tell you, all these things I deal with ChatGPT. I deal with ChatGPT. So, from chalkboards to digital networks, he's talking about my time as a face-to-face teacher and how I crossed over to open and distant learning, out of which I'm not crossing over, but ventured into social learning. Not only in the past few months, which has been rigorous, but actually since my face-to-face days. The other one tells the story, but not fully. I will tell you how that one is different. In face-to-face, as in other types of learning, you can have different kinds of people, black, white, yellow, as you see in the 3 panels. In the 3 mini panelists to the left, to the right panel, right for me, left for you, maybe. In this open and distance education, we have multimedia. You have only 3 there. You have a book, I think. I can see a TV set and something, but it should include television, books, television, TV, laptop or computer, and the Wi-Fi. And so I couldn't get this ChatGPT to put all of that in that room. But another thing I want you to see is that in open and distant learning, you can impact far more people than you would do in face-to-face teaching. And then, of course, in social learning, in that one, which I constructed with You can see that the people are in concentric circles. You learn among your peers. You learn by imitation. You learn by apprenticeship. And some of my students here did with me when I supervised their first degree, master's, and the PhD program. Some of the slides I'm going to flash them. Other slides I will talk to them. So my purpose here is to present this exaugural lecture derived from this book. There is no way I'm going to condense a 183-page career memoir into 50 minutes. So my advice is to get the book. Just get the book, anyhow you get it. Because I will skip a lot of things and just flash some. I'm going to focus on my educational contributions in this lecture, unlike in my inaugural lecture, where my focus was primarily on my contributions as a pharmacologist. And the emphasis will have a focus on guidance counseling. My presentation will be in 4 parts. The first part will talk about this background. Then I will spend some time on my face-to-face teaching years at ABU, 40 years. And I believe this house will now understand that even in those 40 years, I was practicing digital learning from 1982, the year I was employed, to date. So you may look at me as if I'm an analog individual, but I actually have digital DNA. Then the third part is 5 chapters. This is the biggest part of it. I want to talk about my stay in NOUN, the things I was able to do, the things I wasn't able to do, and why I think that this is my happy place and time. 4 years out of 44. And then finally, I will do a bit of reflection, a bit of synthesis, and then I will conclude. Please, I need somebody to be doing this for me. Okay. So, inaugural lecture, I won't spend time on that. But the topic was recalling therapeutic exiles. Who speaks for women and children? And it's a focus that was spent on women and children in pharmacological research and drug use. So it was pharmacology, it was gender, it was a mix of the two. And I want to tell you that the terms therapeutic exiles and therapeutic smuggling were coined by me and appeared for the first time globally in my PhD thesis in 1990. And my argument as at that time is that we need ethical inclusion based on research rather than assumptions. All this not to be used in pregnancy, avoid use during breastfeeding, and its use in children has not been evaluated. It's a cheating on women. Because what it means is that when women take drugs from which they have been exiled, they become experimental users of those drugs. Unplanned study, uncontrolled study, unreported study. And I think the needs and rights of women to rational drug use is as great as that of any member of the population. Mr. Vice Chancellor. So in 2001, I came to Abuja here for an art exhibition in what is now the Sripi and Ekwensi Art and Culture Center. And I presented this artwork. I know it may not look great today, but when I did it in 2001, using Windows Draw, Instant Artist, and other apps that were available, we don't call them applications, we call them programs in those days, available. I created this image of women and children in their lonely island, and of the clinician, the research assistants, and with all their drugs in various dosage forms in the mainland. And you can see the boat smuggling these drugs to these women. And my position, scientific position, was that we need the research data. We need it from animal studies, we need it from human studies to drive rational drug use in women, and that is what women need and deserve. I was born an analog person. They say I'm a baby boomer. I didn't like the name, but eventually I understood why. And this has shaped my growth and career up to this point. And now I have digital children and grandchildren. I think I have caught up with them at last. Okay. So That will take from my time. So when I do like this, you just switch. Please go back one or two. Thank you. I'm sorry. Oh, he's having issues with it. I probably think it's the battery. Yes. So if yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please stop your stop clock. DVC. Okay, the bank will be changing from what will I be using to change my? I will be talking, but I can't change my. You change it from up. Wow. I'm going to negotiate extra time. Oh yeah, go back to where I stopped, please. Thank you. So I want to mention some women that influenced me. My two grandmothers and my mother-in-law, all late now. But their traits they had and exhibited, is what is partly responsible for who I am today. Just watching them behave and interact with their environments has brought to me integrity, strength, and diligence. And if you have this book, later on you can look to a poem that I wrote to greet them, to honor them. It's titled Of Double Helical Structure, Nobel Prize Winners, Sung and Unsung. These three women, Mama Akbobi, Madam Comfort Amrasa Akbare, and Mrs. Eunice Kwanashie, they remain my song heroes to this day. Next slide, please. Okay, my educational journey. I did all this stuff. Let me tell you, if you want to do something, you better do it fast. In 1992, I knew that I needed to have education qualification. And every year I tell myself, where is the time? Where is the time? It will take me 25 years to actualize that dream. Once you have determined, and it's not just in terms of school, when you have determined that this is something you need to do, go for it. And that is why when I came here, despite the workload, I sought the permission of my head of department, my former dean, and the vice chancellor to register for MEd. I'm not going to learn this lesson another 25 years because I just didn't have the time. Next slide. So all my past was mostly in, oh, this is terrible. All my past was mostly in face-to-face teaching. And this is generational categories. If you look at my category there, born between 1946 and 1964, they say I'm an analog native. I'm a late digital adapter. And I value face-to-face, stuff. And all of those things are not particularly true for me. And you will soon see why. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. In this slide, I try to make a distinction between face-to-face, open and distance learning, and social learning. For those of us who are here, the distinction is already clear, but for those people who are guests who are coming from here, you know that in open and distant learning, we don't, most of the time, we don't see our students face-to-face. So I supervise projects. Sometimes I don't see the students at all. And you may sit here and think it doesn't work, but you can see me after the class, and I will tell you how it works. And I teach students, some of my classes, in the Bachelor of Nursing Science program, which is the bread and butter of, just by the way, some of my classes contain students that are over 1,000. And effectively, I'm able to impact to them and they to me. So look at this in the book. Next slide, please. So I did 4 decades of face-to-face teaching at Ahmadu Bello University from 1982 to 2021. I had some breaks, 3 sabbatical, 3 visiting. I went as a visiting professor to the University of Sierra Leone at a time. I will tell you that story another time. When I went there, there were only 2 pharmacologists in the country, and by the time I finished with them, not just me, with some other people from University of Ife, but for pharmacology, I was the only person, and they had 6 pharmacologists, and they have many pharmacologists as at now. Then 4 years I spent here in open and distant learning, approximately in a 100% open and distant learning institution. And in the last 4 months, I've been doing a lot of social learning. Well, let me tell you that social learning has always been there. It's nothing new. Learning by imitating people, or by seeing what they do. You remember in the days of face-to-face, when we have big classes, 100, 150, if you are in the arts and social sciences, maybe 200, 300, we have tutorials, those small groups of 10 students, 12 students that meet with you or with your postgraduate students, where you do social learning in addition to face-to-face. So it's not as if face-to-face started and then paled down and ended, and ODS started off and then ended. If you're a pharmacologist, you understand this very well. When you take a drug, absorption does not end before distribution begins, and distribution does not finish before metabolism begins or before excretion ends. Are we together? They all start at the same time. It's just that one will peak at a different point. So everything is actually around pharmacology, if you look at it. But I don't want to say that. Next slide, next slide, next slide. So I transitioned from handwritten notes to video lectures. I went from blackboards. I did use blackboards in ABU with white chalk and colored chalks. Then I went to whiteboards with whiteboard marker. You know what I mean. And then I graduated to smart boards. Even in ABU, I use smart boards occasionally for my postgraduate teaching. And then the tools have changed, but the goal remained the same. My goal remained to engage students and enable learning. And I embraced each of these innovations as a bridge. Next slide. My first digital experience. I had digital experiences before I came to NOUN. So sometimes people get mixed up for that, because while I was teaching face-to-face, I began to explore virtual teaching methods. I taught with WhatsApp, I taught with Moodle, from my dining room with students at the Kaduna State University for 3 years before COVID came along. And I will tell you the secret, because I travel a lot. I travel a lot. And I just want to add something to what the VC says. I applied for permission to travel. He didn't fund all my travels. He funded two, but I applied for permission to travel. And usually my conferences are funded by the organizers. When I've gone, you can call me and I will show you how you can make yourself known and relevant internationally. In fact, when your application gets to anybody's table, like it did to one table that I know, the person will feel sorry for himself if he doesn't attend to you and grant you what you wish. But that is the story for another day. Next slide, please. So I saw from years back that ODL is the way the future is going, and that we are not going to be teaching face-to-face anymore. And like I always do, I practice what I see. So I was teaching virtually from 1917 till the lockdown. And then when the lockdown came, I said, I cannot stay in FCF again, face-to-face anymore. This complicated slide, I will not go through, let me tell you. It shows that from the 80s, from 1985 to 1989, I was in a group called Zaria Area Microcomputer User Group in ABU. We meet on Tuesdays in the Faculty of Science, one of the biological sciences building. It's led by Dr. Ibrahim, the vet. He brings his daughter on his shoulder, and we watch people, a few people like Dr. Ibrahim, most of them Indians, show demonstrations on their laptop. I go there, and I longed to own a laptop of not a laptop, a PC of my own. And so in 1989, I bought my first computer, 1989. And I was one of the select few people in ABU that had that experience. Please go to that complicated slide. I will skip it. Then 89, then 1993 at Dundee, I sent my first email. That was when, in the University of Dundee in the UK, that was when they established their email office. It was even in the main campus. I was in Ninewell Hospital and Medical School. And when I went there, because I was doing tissue culture, and a lady, a PhD student called Karen was putting me through. Then she needed to go to the US to learn some skills. And she emailed me to find out how I was doing in her absence. And they brought it in to me in a platter. And I had to travel to town to email her back. I don't know, this generation or the generations that came after me, you got all this, you sit in your bedroom and send your email. That was what happened. It was in 1993. Then 1994, 1995, 1994, when I was coming back, I wanted to buy Professor Kwanashie. I wanted to buy a CD-ROM, the whole set, that will enable you to search the literature for your work instead of traveling abroad or begging people abroad to send it to you. Can anybody here relate those days? But I want to tell you something. The universities themselves, including my university at the time, they didn't have it. They didn't even have that CD-ROM. In fact, I owned a fax machine before my university did, and that was in 1994. I bought my first fax machine, and subsequently, I bought another one. When the university wants to fax something, they come and ask me, and they fax it from my personal fax machine. All along, I've been digitalized. Then then I came home with a number of computers. And then I set up 2 computer businesses in ABU. In Zaria, let me say in Zaria. In Samaru specifically, I had a business center. So if you wonder how my word processing is so good, that is why. Secondly, I had a computer training school. And if you go to Samaru today, the people, both learned and unlearned, they call me Mama Computer. It was not the first name I have received in my lifetime. But I want to tell members of this audience that this thing was in my DNA. It's just I was born analog. I will go forward. Then around that same, towards the end of the 90s, I will skip this slide after this story. There was something called iNet Global. Who knows them? They provided internet services. They were based in Kaduna, and we subscribed, right? We were paying 15,000 naira. Not now, 15,000 naira then, each. I had my own. Professor Mike, you had your own. Because certain things are not for sharing. You do your own and make sure that you get the best from it. I will skip this thing. There's a lot that happened here. Skip this. Skip this. Skip. Next slide. Let's go. Yes. So in 2012, I organized a workshop for the West African Society for Pharmacology. It took place here in Abuja. And of course, we couldn't pay for everybody to come. And we didn't have sponsors to pay for everybody to come. On the upper panel, you have our colleagues in South Africa who we are going to be resource persons. They said video conferencing. I said, what is video conferencing? They said, you can organize it. I didn't want them to know that I didn't know what it was. So I went and asked around. And they said, in NIPRID, we could do video conferencing. So I held the conference in NIPRID, the workshop in NIPRID. And from NIPRID, in their video conferencing room, we were able, this was 2012. NIPRID, in their video conference, we were able to connect through Adobe Connect with the South African university we were working with. They were resource persons, they were students there. Some of our students here, the lower panel, you have students from Cameroon, I can see, from Ghana, from Nigeria. Let me tell you, if you set your mind to do something, you will do it. I was president for 6 years. We used to have 3 tenure. It was too much. It was in my time that we changed it to a 5-year, 4-year, I can't remember now, tenure. But I was president for 6 years. For 6 years, 6 presidencies before me, and for 29 years, that conference did not leave Nigeria. And the other people from West African countries, they did not attend the conference because they had no money. As poor as we are along the West African region, thank God for Nigeria. So when it came to my turn, I think I'll go to the next slide so I don't spend too much time. I mobilized, I got NAFDAC to give us a small grant, and we sent some of our ESCO to countries in the West African region to ask them, why are you not coming? What can we do to make you be part of us? Because they are not even eligible to form national societies. Sierra Leone, for example, had only 2 pharmacologists. It's only Ghana that had is it 18 or 20? At a time when my department in ABU alone, we had 30. Just compare. This is not jollof rice story. This is real pharmacology membership story. But by the end of my tenure, I was able to mobilize them, the West African pharmacologists, and integrate them into our society. That these days we went to Accra, Kumasi, and then we pay for them to come here. We get the money, but that is story for another day. Next, this slide. I've been flipping my classrooms. Before I came to NOUN. I went to a conference in South Africa in 2013. That was when I heard the word for the first time. And it intrigued me because I'm always looking for ways to improve on my teaching. So when I attended an oral session and then a poster session, when I got home, I started flipping my classroom. I flipped my classroom for 3 semesters, then did an evaluation with my 500 level pharmacy class on the impact of the flipped classroom. This thing is not meant for you to read. That blue thing there is a poster. It's a poster that I presented, the middle panel. I presented at the University of Durham, in the upper part of England, anyway. And there is nothing, I'm showing it in full because the bottom part there says advantages of flipped classroom. And the upper part of that middle panel says disadvantages of flipped classroom. Then under it, I have some FGD quotes that sort of agreed with that data. Let me tell you, what can be more simpler than this? But this poster won the best prize, right? Of among the posters presented. And it's not these posters that panel of 5 or 6 will go and judge. Judgment at the IUT conferences, Improving University Teaching Conferences, is by everybody. You go and vote. I even took a sticker and voted for another poster. But when the results were announced, my poster was the best. That is the certificate on the right panel. It's even in the book. I put it there because I tell the story. You don't have to do rocket science before you are recognized. And one of the reasons I was told that I won is that they have had 3 conferences with flipped classroom, either as theme or sub-theme. Nobody thought about disadvantages. They're all praising flipped classroom, this and this. So they asked me, this is your list, where did you get this from? I said my students generated it. See, your students, they must be very brilliant. So I became a little bit of celebrity on that occasion. Everybody wanted to know where I live, how tall my students were, what they eat, what they drink. You know how you book, how many kilometers it is from. How am I supposed to know that? Next slide, please. I want to encourage you that you should do what you can do in your environment. You know, those places are not Nigeria, where they may ask you where you are coming from, which is your university, which is your tribe, which is your religion. None of that crap. Clean assessment by everybody in the conference. When they called my name that I won, I got up, hugged the person on my right and on my left. I tell the story of flipping classroom every day. Let your work be simple and authentic. It will take you far. Now, this is when I taught in Castle for, I think, three sessions or 5 semesters, I can't remember, as a visiting lecturer. And these are my students. I came upon them impromptu, and you can see them that even these are the Gen Z students. So you see one learning on the foreground, learning from the phone, others were learning from the computer, and they were doing social learning. So these things are not absolutely new, and they are not completely devoid from face-to-face. You can see that they were always in hybrid. Next slide, please. Next. No, that is too, go back. Interesting times are coming. So since joining NOUN, I had a slide at the end, my happy place and time. But I want to say that I have transited from face-to-face to full-blown ODL model, and I enjoyed it. Because the things I struggled to do in ABU is everyday routine for us here. You know, I had to get somebody from Abdul Mumini from Abubakar Computer Center who will be showing me what to do. He taught me how to upload files. He taught me how to use Moodle. And I stepped this down to my students at postgraduate level and undergraduate level. Mind you, I didn't do more than 25% of my classes because I didn't want anybody to say I was not teaching. I would just come and gist and flip classroom and go away. So next slide. Now this slide, this is when I came to NOUN. I did facilitation, I did supervision. I think those were my most consistent from semester to semester responsibilities. I facilitated 2 courses. I'm going to talk to you about those 2 courses. And then supervision. Let me tell you a secret. I supervised a total of 78 projects in NOUN in 4 years. Yes, 78. I want you to contrast that with 165, which I supervised at all levels, not Bachelor of Nursing Science, it's Bachelor of Pharmacy, the undergraduate one, plus Masters, plus PhD. 165. Please do the math for yourself. I did here half of what I did in ABU for 1/10 of the time. When you are in a place where there is happiness and progress, you will do much better. That is not to say that it did not stress me, but I will come to that at another time. So next slide, please. Now, this slide is very interesting. This is a slide showing the outcome of my facilitation of the NSC 307, Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics, which is the only pharmacology course taken by the Bachelor of Nursing Science students. Let's look at the diagram on the left panel. Now, this is the outcome of 8,165 records. Student performance in pharmacology for the 7 semesters that I facilitated the course and the 7 immediate semesters before I facilitated the course. The green panel, the green bars shows those that passed. The red one, of course, not my address, so not this red. The red one there shows those that failed. And you can see the first 2 bars were before Kwanashie. The last 2 bars were during Kwanashie. You can see that while I handled this course, the number of students or the percentage of students that passed for every year increased. You can get, when you get the permission of the DEA, you can do the analysis for yourself. Correspondingly, the number of students that failed the pharmacology course decreased. So in terms of quantitative analysis, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, your students did better when I was teaching them pharmacology than when I was not. And if you want to disaggregate this into the quality of passing, grade A, grade B, grade C, that is the other figure there now. The green ones are your students before I came in, and the yellow gold ones are your students during my time. And you can see that the number or the proportion of students passing with grade A tripled. The proportion of students passing with grade B doubled. The proportion of students passing with grade C decreased during my time. Therefore, I make bold to say that my tutelage of pharmacology in the 3.5 sessions that I facilitated the course was better quantitatively in terms of the number of students that passed, and qualitatively in terms of their grade of passing compared to the immediate 7 semesters before I came here. Next slide, please. The outcome is similar to NSC 405, which is an education course that I teach. It's curriculum development and teaching methodologies. Go back, yes. So the trend was the same. It's just that the figures, the differences were not as high as they were for pharmacology. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, these are the figures. They speak for themselves. Next. Okay. These are videos. We use videos in teaching. And I want to apologize publicly to the VC that I was one of those that didn't deliver fully on instructional videos. I know what they meant to him. I'm ashamed to say so, but I also want to say that I was one of the first to start. If Dr. Bello is here, he can check their records. And the reason why I failed is because I tend to be a perfectionist. I looked at the videos I made. They were not good. But I checked the videos other people made so I can learn more. I think we need to improve on instructional videos. But in a video that I did very well, virtual pharmacology lab, because we don't see our students, they don't have chance of wet laboratory. So we created virtual pharmacology lab as well as virtual labs in all the other disciplines, like biochemistry, physiology, and all. The basic biomedical sciences that our nursing students benefit from. This panel is not very clear, but this was actually videoed in ABU. And I did some of the videos in the University of Abuja. And I think we should maintain these collaborations and partnerships and cooperation rather than absolute competition. Because I don't know, even if you want to compete, NOUN, we are both virtual and we are very good at also face-to-face when it happens or when it is needed. So in that, this came from the repository of NOUN. The long URL is there, the short URL is there. You can view it at any time. Next slide, please. Next slide, next slide. Okay, next slide. This is one of the ones I will skip. Because when you say preach, they think you are talking about religion. Now, I want to share something with the members here. I started a series, Pharmacology Education at ABU, long after I've presented some pharmacology papers at conferences, and after I've even published, some education courses dealing with pharmacology. It was a series of 7 before, we just did the 7th one when COVID came. And I want to encourage us here, particularly the younger ones. You can start a series and do a little bit now. Next year you dig deeper. Next year you dive deeper until you become in fact, when some of the societies I belong to abroad, when they are having their meetings and they want advice, they will call me. Somebody will step out and phone me. What do I think about such and such? And I think it's because of something like this. I developed pharmacology education as a narrative for ABU. If you look at the book, you will see how the thing grew and what it meant. And I suggested that we can do the same thing here. In fact, I got some of my mentees, one from each of the 3 departments in the faculty, and we started something like that. It's just at this time, we said 100% ODL institution when we refer to NOUN. That was in 2022. By 2023, some others were appointed. So the heading was, when you are doing your heading, take a heading that will last for time, if not for eternity. Next slide, next slide, next slide. Let's go. Next slide. Oh, not so much. Go back a bit. Okay. So we also did research. So I'm looking at teaching, research, and community service when I came to NOUN. And by the grace of God, I had 2 grants. I did not get the NRF. I failed the last selection. So we scaled through. My team and I scaled through those 3 stages. But the IBR took us to Benue South. We went to the villages to collect samples of yam and cassava to see how much pesticide, if any, is there in the residues. So, of course, there was no means of transport. That is me and my colleague that went with me, a very young, vibrant scientist, Mr. Paul Okopi. And then that is us with the people that took us. I'm looking at the upper panel, the people that took us to the farms. And when I got stuck, the place was too high for me to climb. That was Mr. Okopi giving me a lifting hand. And we also went to the point of sale where we looked at the yams. In time, we were trying to, we draw. This is one of the reasons we have not submitted our report. We suspect that there is a mathematical correlation between the physical features of the yam and the weight. So in this scale, we bought it we bought it there in Benue State. So we were taking the measurements with tape, the girth, the center, the head side, and we were weighing, and we had all those records. So we want to give it to a statistician to feed whether they can come up with a model that will help us to predict. I don't know how useful that is anyway, because what the yam is good for is for the eating. Next slide, please. But it's all there in the book. Next slide, next slide. Okay, I also did community service. I'm sure you passed a slide. Can you just check? Slide before the last one and this one, please. No. Please go back, go back, go back. There's something I must share with you. If my students make these slides, I will kill them. Because these are not slides. Go back, please. Go back. Okay. The next one. Next one. Next one. Yes, thank you. So community service while at NOUN, I also participated in a number. I can only showcase 2 here. One, I was invited by the director and the counselor at the Abuja Model Study Center to give a talk on study habits. I don't know whether they heard from ABU. They always call me, even outside our faculty, to give a talk on study habits. So that was one of the community services. And then I also joined our Counseling Association of Nigeria. I hope some of them are here. Campaign around parts of Abuja against suicide. say no to suicide, because life is good. If ever any of us here, and anybody can feel suicidal and be depressed and all of that, we have counselors, and there is a helpline that will take you out of that mood and set you apart again on the path of living. Next slide. Okay, now the university is, when I say the university, or I mean NOUN, right? NOUN has a collaboration with the University of Leeds that is centered on capstone students. In the sense that our final year students from the Faculty of Health Sciences undertake joint projects with their final year students from the University of Leeds. And we've come up with two conference presentations now. This was the first one that involved the staff or the supervisors. We call ourselves supervisors, they call themselves mentors in the two universities. So we came up with this poster describing the work we had done in the first year. And that is me, and you can tell who I am. I'm the black person with the white dress on this side, explaining what we are doing to somebody who visited our stand. And Dave Lewis, who is the head of the Leeds group, that is the white man with the blue dress, looked on. Then we also posed, in the second picture, we posed with a pharmacologist from Australia who was eager to join the group with us. You know, these things, you have to pass them through VC, through management, through Senate for approval before it is done. But I can tell you something. Universities abroad, including the University of Leeds and many other universities in Australia, are turning their final year projects and their taught MSc projects to capstone projects, because they recognize there's a disconnect between the projects our students do and what societal problems are, and the extent to which they address societal problems. So capstone projects readily provide quick solutions, tangible results, and I like that sort of thing. For example, you can see that when I was born, I was greatly disadvantaged. I was short, I was black, I was a woman, and some of them I couldn't do anything about. But the one I could do something about, I did it. I married one of the tallest people in ABU. That is my problem-solving attitude at its base. My friends were asking me, this tall man you are following, I hope you are not going to marry him. I said, what? And some of my children today are taller than him. I'm just telling you, that's a strategy you could adopt. Next slide, please. Next slide, next slide, next slide. So we have other potential UK universities that the collaborations are, the potentials are high. The Open University, they have even had relationships with this university from a long time. University of Glasgow, University of Manchester, and especially University of Leeds. They are dying, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, they are dying to collaborate with us. The gateway to this collaboration is the Drosophila Lab. And the collaboration that we have sort of discussed theoretically with the University of Leeds also follows, it's not just for academics, it's also for non-academics, and it's not just for ODS stuff, it's hybrid. It includes actual and virtual exchange of staff and students, both senior and junior staff. I think this is a fantastic program, and I will urge the Directorate of Advancement and Linkages to work closely with the VC to push these programs ahead. With this VC and the next VC. Next slide, please. Okay, seminars and conferences. Okay, I attended many. In fact, I did have a count. I attended, I think in the process, the time I was here, I attended 14, local, national, and international. And the VC graciously paid for 2, 1 local, 1 international. The others were paid for by the conference organizers and from the pocket of Professor Helen Kwanashie and my pocket, and my children. Let me tell you, I know times I had, well, how many children? How many children? It's like, I didn't plan to, so that they will be paying for me, but that is what they do. Yes? When I get the past sponsorship, I put in the family forum. Please, I need $1,500 or $2,000 to make up my, then I go to sleep. When I wake up in the night or in the morning to use the bathroom, the money is already in my account. Okay, next slide. Seminars and conferences are very good. They are very good. My own, I don't know, I'm not saying that is the same for everybody, but my own career was built on that. And when I was younger, I go around vet medicine, our faculty, human medicine and biological sciences. I'll be writing down the following week's seminars and I will attend them. So when I'm somewhere in Boston or so, and they are presenting something, it's only here that I'm quiet, and I'm not quiet all the time here. I'll shoot up my hand. I'll say, in our university, in the Department of Biological Sciences, they are doing a similar work, and I will tell them the sort of data that they have already. And I linked a number of people that way. So for me, it has been very good, these travels. It is through the travels that I made those connections that may eventually yield collaborations between NOUN and some of these universities. Next slide, please. Okay, I did some analytics work. So, these slides are terrible. I did some analytics work. Let me tell you, in 1990, Professor Abdul Aguye and myself, at my instance, did some work based on something that I had seen at a conference. We did analysis of the course scores between biochemistry, physiology, pharmacology, and overall degree grade. And we followed a cohort of students from 100 level to 500 level. And the results showed that if you want to be a good pharmacy student, you must be very good at biochemistry. That was the highest correlation. Almost 0.9 was the R value, or the index. So I was not new to analytics. And then when I came here, I had reason to want to check that out. So of course, my first interest was pharmacology. That is not reflected here. And Professor Joe, who is my supervisor, and who also happened to be the director of examinations and assessment, we looked at pharmacology. And the correlation was very low. It was below 3. And so we interpreted that to mean that other factors are contributing to the academic performance of the students, other than their scores in pharmacology. But we had enough data to realize that we can identify at-risk students, which is why I'm super excited about the counseling situation that is going to happen now at this university. We can identify at-risk students and counsel them properly. You know, we listened to academic counseling in inaugural lecture not too long ago. And we can also look back into our curriculum and see what needs to be removed and what needs to be modified, so that our students will get the best, both out of knowledge and out of academic performance. So these colors, I was the one that put them there. You will see that what we tried to do was to see, you know, NUC makes continuous assessment mandatory, 30% or 40%. In NOUN, it's 30%. We call it TMA. It happens during the duration of the course, 3 tests. But let me tell you, they contribute far more. That figure is not here. They contribute 89% TMA to the final course score in all the courses. We did 5 courses for this particular work. We selected them diligently, 2 non-professional, as the nurses call them, and 2 professional. We selected 2 came from first semester and 2 came from second semester, and they were the total credit unit were the same. The results was fantastic. Those of us who are here, we understand the language. TMA, I want to read the last sentence and stop there. Is Professor Joe around? Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you, sir. He's my supervisor at the MSc. Anyway, I'm trying to look for the page, but I'm a bit nervous. The point is that TMA is contributing too much to grades. And Professor Joe himself knows that he has to reimagine TMA, the conduct and the role of TMAs in our overall degree program. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this is for your noting as well. Next slide. Yes. So while I was here, I also took part in an international project across the world. The details are there in the book, but this certificate you are seeing there was awarded to us, who were the authors of this work. 34 of us authored this work. When the promotion time comes, they will say first author, and multiple authors. Then they will divide the code by the number of authors. Hello, that is not what is happening in the rest of the world. And I know that there are things they are doing that are not correct, of which we should not copy them. But this is not one of them. It's every day they are congratulating you. Your paper has become the best paper that is read in the history of our journal. Anyway, I was awarded that certificate. But it was for work that 34 of us did. And that we actually started before I came here, but I did part of the work here. Next slide. I thought you should know that. Next slide. Okay, AI and counseling. My time is almost up, and I'm very much afraid of the DVC ACAD, although my husband is here to protect me. and the VC has said many kind words. I think he will protect me too. But he's not smiling, so I will. The DVC is smiling, so that's okay. So artificial intelligence and counseling is something that we need to look into. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I know that you have started the great moves. He's a great architect. He's a great innovator. When this AI came on board, you will see that we are ahead of most universities in this country at the point where we are. We receive training. I'm going to take a tangent and address. Retridor organized training on AI for a period of 4 weeks for staff. We did not attend. If they advertise that program and say it is $200, I will pay and attend. Even if they say it's $500, it was so rich. You see people joining from Australia, from Canada, it was free. Well, where are my people? Please, I want to appeal. You people should keep my name in your email list. I will attend your trainings. They are good for professional development, and I've gained a lot attending all those trainings. Sometimes I can't attend all because of time factor. But this is AI and counseling. And when I learned about AI, was it in 2022 or so? I called my colleagues I said, this thing is coming heavy. Even when I had my students and the capsule students, I taught them, showed them what to do, and showed them the disadvantages or the pitfalls, because I have been exposed to it when I went out for conference. So I'm enjoying it now. In fact, when I was doing this thing, if I don't know anything, I will just ask the ChatGPT, what should my university be doing about AI and counseling? And some of the suggestions I have here, they actually came from AI. Next. So it is not new. Something has to be from inside of you before it can yield fruit. So in 2021, when I visited the counseling, we used to call it Learner Support Center. I said, when I registered in 2023 at the Wuse 2 Study Center, there was no counselor. So I said, it seems logical to me that in an open and distant learning institution, the preferred mode for learner support should be online counseling. I don't understand why. I understand why we should have some few on-site physical counselors. I don't understand why we shouldn't have a lot of online counseling. And I think, Mr. Vice Chancellor, I suspect that the reason we have a high attrition rate, 600,000 enrollees and 150 or thereabouts active students, we need to address that problem. We need to get to the students and find out why they are not making their studentship active. And the way to do it, the best way to do it is through online counseling. And now that we can interface AI into it, I think the progress will be very fast and will be tangible results. During the third Odeland conference I visited their stand. Here. And they are already on that path. In fact, I didn't know they were doing something like that until I spoke to the director of the learner support, Dr. Obanya, and then I also spoke to the Retridor, the director. But I can tell you that my son, Helen Kwanashie, who has a PhD in computer science, and his wife, who has a master's in computer science, and my nephew-in-law, Adako, are you here? They've been working, okay. They were working on an app that can be used to, not only to provide solution, but to be investigative, to find out where the student stands. But of course, the ICT people are already doing it. So for them, maybe that will just be an exercise. I told them you collect all the credits But it was my idea because I saw that AI and counseling will go together. I write poems. In fact, I write poems. I write poems. So everything I think about, I put it in poetry. In fact, I just had to turn some of this to prose. Otherwise, we would have read poetry through that. Next slide, next slide, next slide. Let's go. Okay. I also did analytics of nursing students course. Go on. Next slide. Now, implications of the score patterns. I think I put the figure in the wrong place. Strong to moderate correlation was found between exam and overall scores. There was very weak to insignificant correlation between TMA and overall scores. And we need to have a balanced assessment weightings. Our findings reinforce the importance of continuous assessment and how well-structured TMAs could contribute equitably, that's the key word, to academic performance. I think we all understand what this means. Next slide. Next. Okay. I think I still have a few minutes. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, establishing the noun Drosophila lab is a gateway to many good things for your administration. I want to call upon you, even though you don't have up to 1 year, to do all it takes to make sure that this happens during your time. I know it is possible because I know a true story of some people who started on a project for 92 years. They could not achieve anything. But in 56 days, they achieved something tangible. It's a true story. Even if we have been on this Drosophila journey, I calculated the number of days here. It's 3 years, plus some months, plus some weeks, plus some days. I totaled it up. The final thing is here. And it looks like we have not done anything. I think in the next 6 to 8 months, there's a lot we can do and achieve. Why would we do that? The whole story of how Drosophila is important is now being known. He said we were classmates. They taught us in biology how that 3-millimeter insect can make a difference, right? In research, in the applications to human health and disease and all that crap. Not crap in that sense, crap in quotes. Next slide. Okay, then gender and EDA. Our Vice Chancellor is very progressive, and even the Vice Chancellors before them, to the extent that I can tell you that they offer scholarships to inmates of correctional homes, correctional centers, what we used to call in my era prison. They give them scholarship, they provide them with the resources they need. And 139 have graduated as at the last convocation, 14th convocation. If you know what these people go through when they come out of those correctional centers and how difficult it is to integrate into society, to get jobs, to be even regarded as human, you will know that this university is... Excuse me, I need water actually. Come. This university is doing a great job. How many universities will do that? However, there is something that is lacking here, Mr. Vice Chancellor. We don't have a policy. I have water here. It's okay. We don't have a gender policy unit or center or directorate even, because we need one. Men are not women, and women are not men. We need to routinely disaggregate our data every time you are doing something. That's what I do. I check male, female. Because if you don't check, you may not see that there is a difference that is worth addressing. And the Vice Chancellor knows, I'm sure, that in any institution worldwide, the gender policy and presence is a measure or an indicator of what that university stands for. It's nothing difficult to achieve. Many of us are interested in gender studies. Many of us are already working in gender studies. I was here with Dr. Sela Yakubu, Dr. Bridget Antonia Yakubu. We met at a virtual conference organized from the University of Success a few months after I arrived. And we started something. We brought in Professor Obieje, who was already into gender from ABU. Thank you. and a number of like-minded people. All of us are interested in both female and male progressing side by side, not only in the academics, but in every area of their life. So I wrote a poem, small poem. The reality is not nice. Equality is good. Equity is even better. But what we need is liberation. It's in the book, where there are no barriers and everybody can reach their potential. That is why I believe that this university is associated with this. It needs a crèche. We should have a crèche in this campus. I heard that there was one in Abuja Model Study Center. I went there to look for it, and they have stopped operating. Perhaps the directors, both past and present, they will inform the VC further. Why? Because I struggled as a woman, raised 7 children when I was studying and working, and I know what it meant. If my child is sick, I don't go to work. But if it's a level of sickness that it can be in the crèche, I will come to work and then go from time to go, either to go and breastfeed or play safe for 15 minutes and come back to work. You lose a lot of, what is the word? You lose a lot of, from women, yes. Because when it comes to choosing between children and work, I'm happy that we have a primary school in Kaduna. We don't necessarily need to have primary school here because we don't actually have staff quarters, which I know the VC is working in. You know the VC is an architect. Yes. If you go around our campus, you will see all his buildings everywhere. Even though it was chemistry, he studied. We should clap for that. Our beautiful campus, yes. But we need to have a crèche. And I want to tell you that the Faculty of Health Science was thinking about this. And we even found a place upstairs. You know, we are on the 3rd floor. Then it was pointed out to us that the gaps, that it's not very safe. We should look for a ground floor. Now we are in a ground floor. I hope the VC will do something for us. It's something we like to start. We talk to women who are pregnant. We talk to other people who are working in our faculty, and even outside our faculty in that building. We ask them for their needs. We talk to people who are not happy, that they change nappies in the offices. It's just not professional to bring your child to office now. You can have them somewhere. Anyway, that's a long story. Next slide, let's go. Okay, so initially when I wrote to the DVC about this lecture, I told him I was going to talk about about my 4 years here in NOUN, and ask the question whether it is a quadrennial of digital everything. From what I have told you, I'm sure you can see that it's not digital everything. It cannot be digital everything, but most of it is digital. And coming from a place of face-to-face, and even now in a space where social learning is not just tutorials, where it is real social learning from peers, and then maybe reporting in a class to a group. Sorry, I'm on an MBA program as I'm about to retire, because I have to manage my businesses that are coming up as post-retirement plan. So that's where I experienced what social learning is, and how it interfaces into ODL and even into face-to-face. And it just worked out as it was ordained. 4 decades in face-to-face, 4 years in ODL, and then 4 months in social learning. It was an arranged thing, something. I think so. Next slide, oh. The DVC, I can feel him. So we have a covalent peer learning group in my MEd class. I initiated it. And the VC told you that we were classmates. So I actually I did chemistry to final year. We did not separate at 200 level. At 200 level, we are taking biochemistry courses, and other people taking chemistry. We are also taking other courses. I don't know what he did. But I did chemistry to the penultimate year. It was only in the final year I didn't do chemistry. So if you want any chemistry thing, I remember once in a pharmacology conference, I looked at the presentation. I said, please, Mr. Presenter, is that an imidazole ring structure? He said, yes. Then he called the name of it. I said, if it's an imidazole ring structure, no matter how beneficial this product is, it's not a good thing, because it's going to interact with cytochrome P450, and it's going to cause a generalized inhibition of microsomal enzyme, and that will bring the patient into toxicity. So the chairman said, Professor Mabad, he said, what did you learn all this? I will say this structure will undergo SN2 reaction. So what is SN2 reaction? How do you spell that? I say capital S, capital N, capital 2. And there's also SN1. Then he called my head of department. He's late now. Professor, anyway, I remember, I'm a 70-year-old woman, so I forget some things. I forget some things. Professor Wambaby, now I remember. He said, where did you bring this woman for? How come she knows things that I don't know? Me that know everything. Anyway, it's because I did chemistry in UI to the penultimate year. So you can see me sometimes as a chemist. So I borrowed that idea of covalent bonding, whereby atoms with uneven electrons can combine together so that their electrons will now be even and it will bring stability. So we formed this group. I put out the notice. Initially, 10 or 12 people reported, but after the first week, they left. And we supported each other during these 4 semesters. It's not that we didn't have problems. So, Professor Bamikule, we presented this at the last Odila. We didn't plan it as a study. So it had some things that were not very structured. We presented it as a report of this is our experience, with recommendations that can be adopted, adapted, and even rejected. Next slide, please. So I'm trying to say, okay, some of our people felt, some of the members of the group, we are 6 members, 4 of us were very serious. The other 2 people, they just belonged. They felt that we should recommend it to the university to adopt. I say, we are overworked already. Nobody is going to oversee covalent or revision discussion group. Let's just report it, and let's tell the truth of what we benefited from. It may become attractive to other groups. And I tell you, with the workload I had here, if not for this group, I don't think I would have passed all my courses like I did. And I passed all of them at first sitting. Thank you. So, I will end now. Shouldn't take, yes, I'm going to end now. So from my general experience, from face-to-face, through ODL, of which I'm not leaving, even if I'm retiring, the way I practice ODL before I came here, and no, those of us in pharmacy and nursing, we are lifelong learners automatically. When I go to class today and teach about drug treatment of malaria, it's not what I was taught to. What I was taught, it was chloroquine. But since then, artemisinin combination therapy has come on board. And if I don't educate myself, I will not be able to pass the new things to myself. I just want to say that I may be a baby in counseling, of which I'm not actually. I've been transiting for over 10 years. But I've been digging deep into education. And now that we have a counseling center, and I think about it, if I was properly counseled and guided at the appropriate time, I think I would have been a teacher. I love teaching. I love impacting knowledge. I like changing things and improving teaching. And so I'm saying all this story because I want you to believe me that this is not, I didn't just slap my tie and come up with this. I believe strongly that the future of education is in open. We need to do open and distant learning. Never mind that social learning is coming on board. Even me, as small as I am in this area, I can see the limitations in social learning. Face-to-face is too restricted. So eventually, the hub is going to be open and distant learning. That is where it's going to be. We have some face-to-face interfaces. We have some social learning interfaces and some of the other things that are yet to come that I don't even know about yet. So I want to congratulate those of us who are here in open and distant learning and make the most of it. And if you have a free course, attend it. If you have a conference, go. If you want me to show you how to write a letter that your conference organizer will feel sorry for himself if he does not sponsor you, I will show you how to do so. And let me tell you what I did in ABU. I translated this to my students. If I have a student who doesn't know how to use computer, especially at postgraduate level, you will go and learn first. And I have a standard letter I print to sponsors. I say, take this to your sponsor. Yeah, I say, this student will not make good progress if he does not have a laptop, a printer, a scanner, and I've instructed that he will see me after he has acquired all those. All my postgraduates will take it to their workplaces, and they give them. I even quote the specifications so they don't go and buy one nonsense and bring. Next slide. Next slide. I'm finishing now. Oh, retirement aspiration. I don't think you want to hear that story, but go to the next slide. I can tell it to you. You know, I come from a faith background of sacrifice, so I understand what sacrifice is. As much as I wanted to come here, and as much as I wanted to leave my former place of work, I told the VC, I said, VC, I have a lab. Oh. I hope I'll be allowed to operate my lab. I did not intend for it to be a money-making business. So I had Drosophila Academy formed before I came here. In this book, I have 100-line serenade. It's a serenade. It's like a love letter written about Drosophila. I've trained people. The picture of Drosophila you will find here came from the dissecting microscope in my lab. But I loved this place. And when I saw that I couldn't combine everything, my Drosophila laboratory equipment is secreted and cartoned until this day. And especially when the VC attended the Drosophila seminar I gave and expressed interest in NOUN establishing a Drosophila lab, I believe that with the weight of the university behind that project, what I wanted to achieve with my Drosophila lab is insignificant. I gave it my all. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I know you have like 6 to 8 months. That Drosophila lab will be your best legacy. You have to do all it takes, because that is where the world has been, even India. There is a reference I put in this book here. It's just that the short URL is not there. But if you type the title of the book, they have over hundreds of Drosophilists that their name, address, phone numbers, email, and what they do, the special area they take part in, is all listed there. And there have been 10 Nobel Prizes with respect to research in Drosophila. 0 African, 2 women. Mr. Vice Chancellor, there is a lot of room. There's a lot of things you can do for Drosophila in this place. And then we have a Drosophila working group. They are here. The dean, the present dean is one of them. The outgoing dean was one of them. And they are very committed. And they have crafted a vision that they want to be a reference laboratory facility across Africa. In fact, we don't want to be too bold. But if you do start it right and lay the foundation, I believe the next VC will like to work on it. NOUN should lead the way, because we are the foremost university, the best university, out of 274 current universities in this country. And when I said, somebody said I've attended 50 conferences. I built my career on conferences, over 500. I go to their schools, I check. Okay, next slide. So these are the things I want to do. I also want to do all-round counseling solutions. I actually registered this with CAC in 2022. I thought when I come to NOUN, and we employ 2 people, they'll be running the counseling center. Then on Saturdays, I will put in 6 hours. And maybe during the week, I will put in 2 hours. Let me tell you, those who say, come to NOUN. If you don't have liver, don't come here. If you know you cannot stand, you don't have stamina, don't come here. But it's a good stamina. Have I found it stressful? Yes. Have I enjoyed the stress? Not all the time. But all the time I've been committed to giving it my best shot. So I shut down my Drosophila Academy. I shut down my all-round counseling center, because I wanted to give NOUN my all, since I found it to be my happy place and my happy time. So in principle, formal mentorship is effective, and we are starting that in the Department of Nursing Science. I'm partnering with them. I'm gifting them a mentorship toolkit, and I'm pairing people according to their abilities, their desires, And they will actually write a contract. Say, in this year, this and this is what we achieve. And your mentor will follow you. They will also have peer-to-peer mentorship. I love this place. My only regret is that I spent only 4 years here. I'd wanted to come before now. And on 2 occasions, I had tried to come and did not succeed. Next slide. Next slide, last slide. Okay, no, these ones are in the book. You can see them. I don't want to time shine. Next slide, next slide, next slide. But if you come on the 6th of December, you will see the poems that I've written myself. I have an anthology of 100 poems. And some of the people here, I've seen them. They are my co-authors. We are doing a pharmacological anecdotes. We are using stories to teach pharmacology. And the British Society for Pharmacology is keen on publishing it, etc., etc. So I'm going to do that book launching sometime in December. You'll be there. Next slide. Next slide. I want to show my last 2 slides. Next slide. Next, battery. Next slide. So let me thank everybody who has helped me. The VC has helped me. To tell you the truth, I didn't know we were classmates until I came to NOUN. We used to have large classes in science, and because I'm short and I like to pay attention, I sit in the front center. Ask my husband, we attend conferences together. We didn't know for a long time that we can work together. So about 10 years ago, we started working together. So when we go to a conference, I sit in front, he sits at the back. When we go for coffee break, we stay with different people. It's only at lunch. Sometimes lunch, we stay with different people. So that it's not, conference attendance is not marriage, is it? No, it's not marriage. No, now. So it's when we get home, we now pull our experiences for the day, and it's more productive that way. And the point I was making about sitting in front, next slide. These are my references already. Next slide. Let's go. No, there are other slides there. I want to thank the VC. He's been very good to me. He's been very good, extremely good to me. I knew we were neighbors in Zaria. But what he didn't tell you is that in UI, I don't know how to put it, I was a highly respected student in UI. Other people that I mean, they tell you, I was not a runs girl. You know what I mean? Yes. If you are a runs girl, people won't remember you for good. So that's what I tell people. That's what I tell my students. So it's when I applied here that he made reference to the fact that we were classmates. I said, okay. But he was my neighbor in Zaria. And our children know themselves and all of that. But Zaria, I raised 7 children. I was doing PhD. I was working. I was not a slacker in Zaria. And when they read my citation, they said I got best prize in pharmacology. I got it 7 minus 1 time. 1 year I didn't get it. I got it 7 times. Outstanding lecturer, best lecturer in pharmacology, year after year. Anyway, you don't need to work. Your journey is worked alone. So I want to thank, don't forget the order. I want to thank everybody who has helped me. I'm worried about the reception after this place because everybody has helped me. Everybody. I never go to the VC except it is absolutely necessary. Shoba, well, that's how words come into languages, when they are frequently used. All the principal officers will tell you that. The most junior one of you will tell you that. If I need something, and it is in the office of the registrar or DVC, they are the people I go to, unless it's absolutely necessary. Then I go to the VC. And it's true in telling you that there's nothing I've asked of him that he has not given me. And I apologized privately, and I apologized here that I didn't do well with instructional videos. The lesson I've learned is that I was too perfectionist. But I know that it was not right. And I did other kinds of videos. And I will do instructional videos unpaid. I will find a way to do them better. We need to support this VC because it's very good with research, with building, with innovative ideas that will move this university forward. I want to thank everybody. The DVC, he has a nickname, but I'm not going to mention it. He was good to me during this process, the director and staff of the press, because I submitted my stuff late. 70-year-old woman What do you expect? So, all of that, all of that. If I don't mention you, don't feel bad. God, who sees all that is done in secret, will reward you openly. It is not in my place to say this, that. And just this morning, the DVC admin told me that they prayed for me this morning. I said, who is this day? I'm not in a position. He told me what it is, but I'm not in a position. So think that I'm going to make a presentation. And my whole DVC prayed for me. I was really touched. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I have to thank the DVC. I've scheduled my time. So I have over 100 endorsements, and I'm making a photo book of it for December. So I came here, as I will just represent each one. Conference endorsement. My former VC, Prof. Madi in ABU, got his VC ship letterhead and wrote with his handwriting a very nice commendation of the work I was doing in ABU. And I filed it with my certificates. I wanted to show one of the things I will show, but the DVC was on my neck, that my book is twice the size. So I cut all of that off. So I decided to show only one that endorsed me, a song for Helen. And then I will show two endorsements. One, myself endorsing God. So he has given me the privilege to do that. And then endorsing my husband, Michael Kwanashie. Let me start with the one that I endorse God with. The scripture actually says us, it's in plural, but when I paraphrase it, it goes like this. This is the NIV, Isaiah 26 verse 12. Lord, you have established peace for me. All that I have accomplished, you have done for me. So that clap is not for me. You give that clap. Because without him, I can do nothing. If there is a page after that, please show it. There's a slide after that. Oh no, not that one. Okay, this slide, you see that green panel? Is the endorsement of my husband, Mike Kwanashie. To the right, so the extreme right, is a poem I wrote for him when I was 18 years, in 1973. I'm blushing, I'm not going to read it here. It's in the book. And then the one in the middle panel is the one I wrote for him in the dedication of this book. Nothing has changed though. So the VC was right. I remain the same. This guy, he's my guy. So the one, this is the final thing now. The one to the left is somebody endorsing me. A woman that I hardly knew. She was from the University of Abuja. At the time this took place, it was the year 2000. We had a conference of the National Association of Women Academics that took place here in Abuja. And she was a member of the local organizing committee, headed by the DVC academic at that time. And they had 1.5 years. They could not organize the conference. And our society was going bonkers by that. So I volunteered to organize the conference. There was no money. In my house, my husband is the VC, but I'm both registrar and bosser inside the house. So our children were schooling abroad at the time. I was the one sorting all that out. So I left two months upkeep for them. I took my children's feeding money. You only heard about it when I came to Abuja. I went to a hotel and rented a suite. I loaded my computer and everything. In 3 weeks, what they could not do, 14 of them could not do in 1.5 years. I succeeded in doing that conference. I can tell you that story another day, but I just studied that story of a project that was not achieved in 92 years, but was eventually achieved in 56 days. I was fired. So this lady came on the closing ceremony, Mrs. Cecilia Kato. She eventually got a PhD. She became a senior lecturer. Unfortunately, she passed from an asthmatic attack. But this is the very copy she gave to me on that day. She typed this poem. She was a poet, like me, laminated it and handed it over to me. With your permission, I will just read it. This is all it is. And especially the last words. Whenever I'm sad or unhappy, apart from the scriptures, I go to this poem. A song for Helen, for Dr. Helen Kwanashie. And listen to the last stanza when you get there. Because she said, when she gave the preamble, that we are a women's society. If we are a mixed society, or it was a man's society, they would have crowned Helen, not queen, but king over them. Let me read what she said. She endorsed me by this poem. I will sing for you, Helen, a song of your choice, a song of the women that throng to you for who you are. Let me sing you a song, Helen, stitching together your efforts in the business of leadership, a song from the beak of a bird that cannot wait any longer. Permit me, Helen, to sing you a song of strength, of vigor, of brains, of beauty that embodies you. I will sing you a song indeed, long overdue in my throat. With a trumpet voice, let me sing. That womanhood goes beyond just being. As wisdom is asset, so is the woman whose feet are not flat on the ground. Permit me, Helen, to sing to a genius men would have crowned king. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this is my 44-year-old story. Thank you.
I think Professor Kwanashie deserves more than that, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I invite the Vice Chancellor at this moment for an official presentation of this Exaugural lecture by the Exaugural presenter to the Vice Chancellor.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I hereby present to you a copy of my Exaugural lecture, and I thank you for all the privileges you have given to me to contribute to the growth of this university. Thank you. Sorry, has given me permission to do one other act. Please, if I may get the very last slide in that presentation. I won't take time, sir. Very last slide, ICT, please. When I presented my inaugural lecture in ABU in 2014, I instituted 2 undergraduate prizes. Yes. For best pharmacology, best female pharmacology student in medicine, and best female pharmacology student in pharmacy. I also established a research grant. They were to run for 10 years, and they cost only 1.5 million. As at that time, it was equivalent to $10,000. I think the 10 years was up last year. I would like to do something better for NOUN. And so I looked around. It's not a time when I can put my hand in my pocket. My husband is retired. But I thought the community can help us improve on one of the buildings on this campus, the Catholic chaplaincy. And so I approached the chaplain, the chairperson of the chaplaincy, and of course, before I did that, I first got permission from my husband, and eventually got a nod from the VC that I will like to help this university improve that building or develop it in any other way that they deem fit. So for each year of my academic contributions to national development, I intend to give and help raise a total of 44 million for the improvement of that establishment. Between today, 22nd May, and 21st November 2025, since most of us who may be contributing are lecturers, and you will know how heavy we are, please, let's contribute to it. You will see this in your lunch. When you go to have your lunch, this will be there. Talking about the bank account to pay to. It opened up at 12 midnight today, and I can tell you that some substantial money is already paid into it. Please, help us build. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Helen Kwanashie. Please, you can go and sit down. In my 4 years and a half as Vice Chancellor, nobody has demonstrated the kind of passion that I have given this university less than this woman. And this is really what academics, commitment, and dedication is all about. And sometimes I used to have one of my supporters, one of my officers. And every day when I listen to that, it pained me. And the person told me, he said, VC, you think you can change the university? Professor Helen Kwanashie has demonstrated that all what you need is passion for what you do, nothing else. Passion. Because in passion, it brings out every other trait you need to survive as an academic, as an administrator, and as a human being. But I want to take some, I'm lost for words now. I want to take some credit because we were together in UI. So it must mean that it is UI that brought us up. That within 4 years of her stay in this university, she has done much. So when you see me, it is because of how we were brought up. It is because of the culture of the university. And that is what I want to enjoin my colleagues, either as an academic or as a non-teaching staff. There is joy in workmanship because there is a labor and a wage that is attached to it. We perhaps have spent over 1 hour here, but many of us didn't know that we spent 1 hour here because she has given us all her all. And I want to thank you. She used to say she's my senior. The first time she knew that she was going to retire before me, she said, "Hey, VC, you mean I'm your senior?" And that became a song between the two of us. And anytime we talk, because we used to talk also, she said she is a counselor. And we used to go into that realm when we discussed. And she used to say, after all, I am your senior. I want to thank you, senior. She made on page 145, I want my staff to look at that page, about having found peace at the NOUN. I don't know how many of you have worked in another place before now. And I know that I, Femi Peters, I found peace at the National University of Nigeria. She is retiring in a few days from now. And so I'm going to miss her. But before now, she had made certain requests. And she has told you, I hardly turned down her request. And one of the requests that she made, right from the very first few months that she joined us, was the establishment of Drosophila Laboratory. And she couldn't tell you enough that the proposal to get the equipment to set up a Drosophila Laboratory was approved since 2022. And the equipment were purchased since 2022. And they are, like she said, created in our university. So you will understand why I was struggling to have structures that will free offices that we can use to establish laboratories. She was one of the reasons that was driving it. And the Dean of Health Science will also now agree the order that I gave to him last month, that he must move from where they are to the place allotted them so that I can come and see it and then make necessary adjustments to the laboratories. Because Drosophila lab, we must establish. And I wouldn't want to bore you many again with many things that she has said, but except to just thank her for her service to the National Open University of Nigeria within the very short time that she came. I always had confidence because her words of advice, her words of admonition are without bias. And like I told you, right from 1976 when I knew her, she's always been who she is or she was. So, and as you retire, you've also made other requests, which I'm sure we are trying to say which one, even though she has given her options, and we will see how it will go. I want to seize this opportunity to congratulate Professor Mike Kwanashie, the guy of Helen, the G of Helen. Yes, Professor Kwanashie was far ahead of us at ABU Zaria. And one of those who, in quote, broke early away from the stress of being just an ABU lecturer to somebody who has good reputation in Nigeria and outside this country. He used to be a heavy, tall man, but age has dealt with him like age will deal with all of us. I'm especially, I want to make a confession, especially grateful to the Kwanashie family. For if without them, I wouldn't have been at the National Open University of Nigeria. My transition from ABU Zaria to Open University was made possible because his brother was then the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, a man at that time of immense stature and influence at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. Knowing him meant you get so many things, and I was lucky I knew him. That's why I came. So I want to thank you, sir, and I wish you peace of mind and joy of the heart in our twilight years. And congratulations that you are able to witness the retirement formal retirement of Helen from the puzzle of 2x2 that is in Lagos. They used to say when you work as a civil servant, or you say they call it 2x2 work as work. So I will not say much again, so as not to reveal too many other secrets of mine that my colleagues are wearing. But just to say that we have been enriched by today's lecture. It has touched everywhere, every part of our lives. And I thank Professor Helen Kwanashie for making it possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Without any time wasting, I'd like to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics, Professor Chedu Mafiana, for a vote of thanks.
I overspent my time, and I didn't want to disrespect the DVC, who was holding himself from stopping me. So I didn't acknowledge people, but my family members are here, apart from Mike, yes. And Mega, you can come forward to give the vote of thanks. These are my siblings, and behind there are my children. This is one of them. Ozed, this is one of them. I want you to clap for this. He and his wife opted that they are not going to Jakwa. They are going to stay at home and look after us in our old age. His lovely wife, is Ladi there? Oh, okay. Is Ladi around? They look after us to Shege. Thank you. Then my students, if you're my students, came from Zaria, from Ilorin, from Abuja, yes. From, I don't know where, this is from Abuja too. Jonah, where are you coming from? Yes. Omiva Open University. We help you a lot. We don't compete with small, newcomers. So thank you very much. Okay, this was also my student and co-author in the pharmacological anecdote book we are writing. She was one time DVC at the University of Abuja. And 70-year-old woman. Who is speaking? Who is there, please? Okay, yes. Was my student too. And I'm sure in the online, yes, Professor Lurishe will be there. And he wrote the foreword to this book. And a good number of them with Hanafi, I supervised their first degree, second degree, and PhD research project. My friends are here. Professor Chinwe Ihoma was my friend until I started going to school in her department. So hopefully when I graduate now, and there's no conflict of interest, she will become my friend again. I'm learning to do my business in future, so the director of entrepreneurship is my Oga right now, and he's teaching me many good things. I don't like calling people because I'm going to miss some very important people. There are people that I would have loved to work with. Dr. Bello, Professor Juliet, Professor Christine, and some Adewale Adeshina, and the Miracle. Miracle was my first contact in this university. So he said, "Ma, call me anytime." I can call Miracle at 11 p.m. and he will guide me through a process. And all of you too numerous to mention. Professor was my teacher in counseling theories. And recently I met him. I said, I still find that thing difficult. You will come and teach me some more. I will come so that you will teach me some more. Thank you. I think I use this opportunity to call Mega, my son, to speak.
Hello, hello, hello. Good day, everyone. I'm here standing on existing protocol. When I was told I was going to give this vote of thanks, I chuckled because public speaking isn't one of my best stages. Give me a helmet and a tape, and I'm good, and a side job. Anyways, thank you all for being here. First of all, I would like to recognize the presence of the VC, the Vice Chancellor, and everyone here present. We're here truly to celebrate the achievement and retirement of a truly distinguished and inspiring individual, Professor Mrs. Helen Kwanashie. Permit me to skip all those accolades. How many? Oh my God. Kambroba. It is long, but please give her a round of applause. Well, we'll first like to thank God Almighty for making this possible, for giving us the grace of life. Seated here today, without that, none of this will be possible. I'd like to thank His grace and wisdom bestowed on her, the celebrant, through this many years. 44 years. Wow. Please, another hand. That's a lifetime. That's a lifetime for sure. I'd also like to thank and highlight the achievements she's made in academics. It's been highlighted throughout the day, so I wouldn't bore you with that. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank the university for giving her a platform to excel. Imagine a very vibrant seed that you put just on bare soil. Nothing can come good from it. So first of all, I'd like to thank the university, Open University of Nigeria, and Ahmadu Bello University, where it all started, for giving this incredible lady, my mom, the foundation to which to strive and succeed and pursue a career that has spanned over 4 decades. On behalf of everyone seated here together, I would like to thank especially the people that have made this journey possible, from her mentors, her colleagues, associates, and students, you know, including family and friends that have all come together to make her dream, you know, spread across all these years and become, you know, such a remarkable story. I'd like to thank and acknowledge my dad, Professor Mike Kwanashie, who has also led a separate support and striving environment, you know, for her to excel. Because I'll tell you as a young father that the family is the root of all successes. You know, when you have a home that allows you as an individual, male or female, young or old, to pursue a dream, you know, it gives you all the resources, the determination, and zeal to excel. I'd like to thank family and friends and all the ones seated here that have traveled far and near to grace this occasion. And I pray that as you return to your families and your place of work, that God Almighty will grant you safe and journey mercies. Thank you all for being here, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mega, for and on behalf of the family. Mr. Chairman, sir, we would like to break the protocol a little bit here because the Dean Housing, Professor Helen, would want to give a small token as a sign of presentation on this wonderful occasion.
Prof, the faculty really appreciated you, and we're still appreciating you. And if the Drosophila comes up, we will always call on you. If the crest comes up, we will always call on you. And we just want to appreciate you for all you have contributed to Faculty of Health Sciences and the university in general. Thank you very much.
And very quickly before we depart here, Professor Helen has organized a very sumptuous meal to take care of our eating habit this afternoon, and that will take place at the Vincent Ado Tenebi ground floor hall shortly after this meeting for members of the Senate, principal officers, and other invited guests. We meet there for that deconstruction exercise. For now, on behalf of the chairman, may I request we all be on our feet for the closing anthem. Please remain standing while the Vice Chancellor procession file out. While they are filing out a special announcement, the principal officers, Senate members will take their lunch at the ground floor Vincent Ado Tenebi Senate building. Now, family members and friends will take theirs at the former council chamber at the Vincent Ado Tenebi building, while faculty, staff, and other members of staff will take theirs at the Faculty of Health Sciences. This is on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, management staff of the National Open University of Nigeria, thanking you for being part of this Exaugural lecture. And this is hoping that when we extend our invitation to you some of the time, you graciously oblige us with your presence, just like you did today. On behalf of all from the National Open University of Nigeria, my name is Ambrose Bernard Gowon.